The 18th edition of the Metro FM Awards will be held on Saturday at Mbombela Stadium in Mpumalanga. The prestigious annual event is seen as a tourism magnet for the province and attracts thousands of fans in celebration of South Africa's music industry. While the Black to the Future themed event will be broadcast live this Freedom Day on SABC 1, and that's all happening at 8 p.m. So to tell us a little bit more about what we can expect, we're going to be joined virtually by Sibusiso Gumbi. He is head of SABC Marketing. Sibusiso, good morning and thank you for your time at this hour, bright and early, as we also look at that clock ticking, aging closer to the Metro FM Awards.
Good morning to you and the viewers at home.
Sibusiso, talk to us about the significance of hosting the Metro FM Awards once again. Why it resonates so well with South Africans alike, particularly going to be held on Freedom Day this year?
I think one, we all know what music has played in terms of its role in everyone's life, and especially in South Africa as a country. And with these awards being hosted on Freedom Day, for us, really gives us an opportunity to also just increase the standard that we obviously set for ourselves from the last year's awards, in a form of using music to really communicate certain elements within the Metro FM brand and SABC as a whole. Hosting these on the Freedom Day as well just represents our campaign that we launched earlier this year, which is a tribute to democracy. And we are planning to articulate and showcase some forms of how we as the SABC would be celebrating this 30 years of freedom on the day of the awards from the production perspective. So we do have quite exciting and spectacular productions that are planned in and around the 30 years of democracy.
Okay, so let's get further into that. Speaking about celebrating 30 years of democracy, the theme this year, Black to the Future, tell us a little bit more.
So for us, we just wanted to reflect how far have we come as the Metro FM Music Awards, and then secondly, how do we also incorporate fashion within what we are trying to do in terms of AI incorporation. And we've seen how technology obviously disrupted a lot of industries, and the arts are also impacted and positively in this. And so what we tried to do was, how can we marry both technology and fashion and music to some extent? So we came up with a feature that really represents the station's brand identity, which is Black. As we all know that Metro FM stands for Black excellence, anything that is opulent and represents success. And we try to really ensure that we are able to incorporate the future within it, and just allow the people that would be attending the MMAs to show us how do they incorporate the theme from the fashion perspective.
All right, so we can expect a lot of different elements and surprises as well. I actually want to go back to my earlier point about, the awards having started 18 years ago, because I ultimately also want to look at the contribution that it's had to South Africa's music industry at large. I mean, talk to us about those highlights along the years.
I think for me, I've been growing up watching the MMAs, just how they also just recognize the arts within the SA landscape, or rather entertainment space. It has really ensured that the musicians themselves as well do hone their skills and how they also just go to market. And we've seen how technology also just disrupted the music entertainment in terms of using certain platforms that would make their music more accessible. But Metro FM and radio stations still remain the primary platform where people can get to hear new music, and platform that get to really create stars within the music entertainment, and for the station to be the one that really does or execute an event that honors and recognizes the talent that we've been able to really experience within South Africa, really is a great thing from a Metro FM Music Awards perspective.
Sibusiso, you've spoken about incorporating different elements this time around. And something that also comes to mind for me is the location. Talk to us a little bit more
Yes.
about Mbombela Stadium, perhaps also why it's important for the SABC to be involved in such partnerships and collaboration, but also the knock-on effects, how it impacts the tourism industry at large, particularly as we're returning again.
I think for us, Mpumalanga is obviously an ideal host partner, and especially from a tourism perspective, the positioning of the province as the go-to place when it comes to tourism, it really made it easier for us to really also just choose the province because there are a lot of things that are really are very compatible from an hours perspective. When you look at tourism, I mean, we've been doing some content pieces on Metro FM social media platforms in assisting the province in profiling some of their tourism destinations. And just choosing Mbombela on its own, I just think the people have always created the awards or positions the award as an indoor type of an event, but we took it upon ourselves to say, how about we just make it a stadium status from an SABC perspective and just to break boundaries in that aspect. And Mbombela really gives us that advantage as it has a quite iconic stadium within it. And it gives us an opportunity to really play around certain elements from a production perspective. And I think for the biggest one, which has really never been done before from an MMA's perspective, is to host a music festival immediately after the awards. I think in the history of the awards, what they've always done is after the awards, people go to various places to attend their after parties. But then we thought, because we are also celebrating this significant milestone from a freedom perspective, how about we get everyone together immediately after awards and really take people down the time in terms of some of the performances that we've planned for the awards and the festival.
Sbu, you've spoken about being more innovative, pushing boundaries as well. I mean, but obviously on such a scale, there must have been some challenges incurred, particularly lessons learned from last year. What would you say those were? How will they be improved this year as well? I'm also thinking about ticket sales and attendance. I mean, what's that looking like as we speak and you're edging closer?
I think one of the key lessons that we've learned was our people just did not necessarily understand the concept of being on time for the awards. I think they just took this event as just any other musical event, but because it has a lot of TV element and the production, obviously, from a live TV element, so people needed to be there quite early. So what we've done this year is we've tried to give people a little bit more motivation and reason for them to come in quite earlier. From after 6, we will be starting with our black carpet. And this will also just be live on SABC One and our SABC Plus platform, where we do have a pop-up channel that will be dedicated to the Metro FM Music Awards. And then we have also just incorporated some of the entertainment that will be on the black carpet, just so that we can allow people to come quite early. And some of the elements that we believe would be the ones that would encourage people to dress up and come to the awards quite early. I mean, we have a fashion partner this year that will also be part of the black carpet. So with their fashion experience and expertise in that industry, they will obviously enhance that from a Metro FM perspective. And then from a production perspective on stage, what we've learned was obviously that people do not necessarily want to leave after the awards. Hence, now we just also incorporated another element just to give them a reason to buy tickets. So when you look at it as well, it's more of buying one ticket for 2 experiences, and this has never been done in the history of the MMA.
Sbu, it's obviously also ultimately about the prizes. Talk to us about what we can expect this time round as well as we conclude.
Yes, so what we've done is we've obviously tried to make the prices quite reasonable and affordable for our audiences. We start with the 300 general access prizes, and then we do also have an option for the floor seating that starts at 800, and all tickets are obviously available at CompuTicket. We do have an amazing lineup that we've lined up on the day. From a production perspective, we will be seeing Boom Shaka on stage with the production themed 30 years of democracy, a tribute to democracy from an SABC perspective. We obviously have an international artist for the first time in the form of Huapili, who would also be performing on stage. We do have Casper Nyovest, as we know that he is known for filling such venues. And over and above that, what we've also done is, from a local perspective, we've incorporated the local artists within Mpumalanga. As what we would want to do as an SABC is to obviously leave a sustainable factor from a province perspective, not just from an economic perspective, but arts. As we know that the creative economy is now a sector that is also actively contributing towards the economy.
No, absolutely, Sbu. We're wishing you all the best of luck. I hope sleep is part of that equation. But we'll leave this conversation there for now. Sibusiso Gumbi chatting to us just ahead of the Metro FM Awards, the MMAs. They're taking place on Saturday, the 27th of April, coinciding, of course, with Freedom Day in South Africa. It's all taking place at Mbombela Stadium, Mpumalanga. It will also be live on SABC 1.